All right, Hans, great to have you here with us this morning. And I should mention now senior legal fellow at Advancing American Freedom. And it's great to have you back. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing, and that's got to be one of the dumbest public statements I've heard because illegal aliens have no Second Amendment rights. Period.
Well,
so approaching ICE agents, federal agents, with a gun when you're not only an illegal alien, but apparently a criminal history of domestic assault.
I think he was referring to Alex Preddy, the American that got shot, who apparently had a
you're right.
He had a valid concealed carry license. But what outraged me is this is a police chief saying it doesn't matter even if the investigation finds out it was a good shooting, it doesn't matter because people are mad. How can a police chief come out in the public and say that?
Well, yeah, and plus, look, folks who have concealed carry permits know that you don't go to a organized police raid in order to interfere and obstruct that raid. That's the thing that everybody needs to understand. Look, apparently Fox News has this great story in which they reveal this whole internet signal chat system being used by socialist and Marxist groups to get agitators like Preddy to locations where ICE agents are trying to arrest criminal aliens. And that is the kind of obstruction of justice and prevention of federal law enforcement that may lead to the president, particularly when you have local mayor, local police force, basically encouraging this kind of misbehavior. That's what may lead the president to invoke the Insurrection Act and bring actual federal troops into Minneapolis.
Well, there's a very fine line between protesting, which they have every right to do, and then doing what they're doing. And I just saw a video, I believe it's from overnight, Hans, where it appeared as though these agitators were throwing rocks and spray painting the windows of this hotel where some of these ICE agents are believed to be staying.
They broke the windows out.
Right.
Yeah, they did.
Right. And apparently, one of the cars, I think it was an FBI agent's car, was broken into by one of these mobs, and weapons were stolen from the car. So these are not peaceful protests. This is, quite frankly, a rebellion and insurrection against enforcement of federal law. And like I said, it's as if they really want the president to invoke the Insurrection Act and send federal troops there. And given their behavior, I think he will have a right to do that.
Wow. I do. I think it's getting to that point, and I do think that's what they want. I think they're trying to bait him into doing that. For these Democrats, it strikes me that it's coming up to a midterm, and they need to stir up chaos and passion by their supporters on the left. You brought up the Signal story. I read that on Fox. One of the people implicated in that is the current lieutenant governor. Like, her name was mentioned in the Signal chats as being like an officer or a leader of this group that's helping direct people to interfere with these law enforcement operations. Is that actionable by the DOJ?
Yes, it is. I think she can be charged with obstruction of justice the same way that judge in Wisconsin was. And look, listen to this. This is from the Insurrection Act. The president can invoke and send in federal troops when unlawful obstructions, assemblages against the authority of the U.S. make it impractical to enforce the law. Doesn't that describe the situation exactly in Minneapolis?
Oh, it sure seems to. Listen to Delia Ramirez. She is a congresswoman. This is what she said yesterday on MS Now about why she thinks that the ICE agents are in Minneapolis. Listen. Hold on. I don't know why. Why don't we have audio here? Hang on. Let's try it again.
Pam Bondi, about Donald Trump, Kristi Noem, Pete Hegseth. They're authoritarians, and they're trying to take over this country, and they no longer think we need elections. Now, they think they can have their voter rolls, if they think that they can attempt to disrupt our ability to have free and fair elections, that they will continue to have the lawlessness that you're seeing on the ground. It was never about immigrants. It was never about criminals. This is about terrorizing anyone that is willing to stand up for our Constitution, for the American people. They want your voter rolls. They want our voter rolls because they don't want to see free and fair elections anymore.
I don't know how warped these people are, but yeah, I want your voter rolls cleaned up is what I want. I want dead people and illegals off your voter rolls. And it sounds like they're very much afraid of that, Hans.
No, I think they are afraid of that. And look, ICE released the numbers. Since they started these operations in Minnesota, they've arrested 3,400 illegal aliens, including criminals, gang members, and terrorists. That's who this congresswoman and others are defending. You know, I had somebody out there say, well, the reason they're doing this is because they don't want their voters removed from the communities. And that's because, Minnesota has one of the worst election integrity systems in the country. They're a sanctuary state. They don't do anything to ensure that, for example, illegal aliens aren't registering and voting. And I think that's reflected in the people that they elect there.
Yeah, I think you're very, very right about that. Hans, have a safe week and stay warm up there in D.C., huh?
I thank you. I will. The city's pretty much shut down because of the snow.
I'll bet it is. We'll talk soon. Thank you, friend. Appreciate that. Great to get Hans on here.